naming your child after someone so evil is like, I mean, it's a very white thing to do, so I shouldn't be surprised.
Y'all already know what time it is. I got the black V-neck on.
The Biggest Loser documentary on Netflix. That was some jarring, like, I don't even know where to start at. Like,
No words.
to see how production had them fighting over food. This was not about losing weight.
Mm-mm. No, it wasn't. And I think,
But they were able to frame it like that because we want to be entertained.
so for me, this was so incredibly frustrating because I think what The Biggest Loser speaks to is white people's inability to be anything other than a white savior.
Mm.
Because when David Broom, or Brome, however you pronounce his last name, said, the one of the executive producers said that he was that he started the show because someone at the gym posted on the bulletin in his gym that they were quote unquote obese and needed help. Instead of him taking it upon himself to try to help that individual, he saw it as an opportunity to make money off of the backs of fat people and claim that it was for our salvation, for our lives, and our livelihood. And that for me was like, I think that was one of the most jarring things about the entire documentary, is learning that that was how the show even came about. Because how, in what world does it make sense to say, hey, I'm not going to actually help the person who's asking for help. I'm going to take this person's idea, monetize it for my own personal gain, capitalize off of it to become rich, and then push the very people who come to this place as vulnerable as they are into a corner to be by themselves after the show is done, right? The season 8 winner, I think Danny was a season 8 winner, told us how he went to David and to JD Roth and requested for them to offer some sort of aftercare, some sort of support. The show was a multi-billion-dollar show.
Yes.
That was being hosted at a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yes.
And the only people who actually benefited from that show were the thin people who were behind its production.
Yes.
To me, there's no way to. Everything about that pisses me off. It angers me because it created who I understand to be two of the most evil people in the world. Jillian Michaels and Bob Harper. Like, so much about their careers was created through the ways that they berated, abused, harmed, and violated fat people in public in the name of saving those people. Even though the season 1 winner said on the show, or in the documentary, that the first words Jillian said to him was, "You just made me a millionaire."
Like, exploitation at its finest.
She became a millionaire with his win. He won $250,000 with no aftercare.
None.
And I'm not saying that $250K is a small amount of money, because it's not, especially in 2004.
Yeah. But
without any support after the show, there is no way to actually lose and keep off that weight. Not even considering the fact that the very premise of the show is the idea that fat people don't deserve to exist.
Yes.
That to be fat is to be bad. It is to be morally wrong and unrighteous, and therefore you need our help to become righteous, to be right, to be good, to be something not worth judging. And they placed fat people in a circus, in a zoo.
Yeah. Well, this show made so much money that the show itself, it wasn't even just getting money off of the revenue from advertisement, but they were able to sell this merchandise. They were doing ads for Subway, doing ads with like drinking bottles, and just everywhere was around like health. And the show treated the contestants and some of the most like dehumanizing ways. Like it was interesting watching how the production was trying to, even the host, homegirl, I can't remember her name, how we was trying to make it, y'all had these folks fighting over food. There was one scene,
Temptation Challenge.
yes, because I've never watched it. For those who do not know, we're talking about Fit for TV, the Biggest Loser documentary that was on Netflix. Me and Da'Shaun had a chance to watch it, and I wanted to do a discussion about it. And I actually told Da'Shaun to watch. I said, Da'Shaun, like, I know you got a lot going on, sister.
So I wasn't gonna watch it.
Yes, but I watched it. I was actually about to go to sleep, and I turned it on. I said, oh, these folks are sick. Like, I knew it was bad, but to the extent and the level of this, like Bob Harper, oh my gosh, I almost wish there was a hell. So you can be there, because the way he talked to that black woman,
Joelle.
yes, like the way he talked to, I think it was Joella or Joella.
It was Joelle. Yeah.
Like the way he treated her and was upset that she wasn't moving fast enough. She wasn't giving it her all. And that's something that I have experienced with a trainer in the past, that I'm not trying to lose weight that fast. I'm just trying to move. But this whole system, this whole thing is about, you need to not be fat. So we're gonna make all these unhealthy things. We're saying that this is not healthy, like you're not healthy, but we're gonna do all these unhealthy things for you to move to health. I'm not trying to lose weight that fast. These people were losing, what, I think 6-7 pounds a week or sometimes
more than that.
Yeah,
like that's
they were doing weigh-ins. Oh no, you're fine. They were doing weigh-ins, and these people were losing, like they say, the healthy amount of weight you lose is probably, I think, 3 to 4 pounds a month. These folks were losing way more than like 4 or 5 times.
At one point, Danny, the season 8 contestant winner, his first weigh-in, he had lost 24 pounds in 1 week.
It's not pops.
You know how unhealthy that, in a matter of 2 weeks, he had lost 36 pounds.
Yes.
Do you know how deeply unhealthy that is?
They don't. I don't think we do, because we come to understand, like, health is what we see, what you look like. And they were able to take advantage of that.
Yep. They
were able to take advantage, exploit this. Like, I'm glad you brought up how the aftercare was not a thought. Even at $250,000, when we talk about like the healthcare system, you can burn through that in minutes, because we had one contestant who couldn't even make it to the finish line because her organs were like shutting down. Tracy was like, her body was shutting down, saying she can't do that. And again,
she almost died.
Had to be medevac. The helicopter had to. They was, you can do it. You can do it. What happens when a fat person is telling you, my body cannot do that, and the response is, you can?
The response is not only that you can, but that you have to. That it is your, because you are a moral failing as a fat person. Like, not, your body is not just a failure. You as a person are a moral failing or a moral failure. You have to push past these, what your body is telling you. You can't trust your body. You can't trust that your body actually knows what it needs, because you don't know what your body needs, because you're fat. you can't listen to what your body needs because you're not used to exercising. You're not used to movement, so you don't actually know what your body can and cannot handle. That's what we're here for, these thin trainers. We're here for that because your body doesn't know what it needs.
Yeah. And none of these folks have any, not in the medical field at all. And the person who was in the medical field, the doctor,
was kept out of the loop for most of the challenges.
Yes. He would say, they argue, Bob said that he had a God complex. The trainer said that the person who went to school for modern medicine, is like given a God complex, like we're not going to listen to the things that you're saying about the body. And you can watch throughout the document, you can tell that he felt like he failed. Because the contestant who, not Joella, but Tracy, the organ failure.
Tracy. Mm-hmm.
Yes, she was losing weight and the trainers were mad about it, but she wasn't doing the things that they wanted. She wasn't going to the extreme. So one, you had these two trainers who hated fat people and also wanted to see this show become bigger, for lack of better words. Like they wanted the show to grow and get more attention. And they did not like the fact that she was losing weight in a quote unquote healthier way. And it pissed them off. Like I thought the goal was about these folks losing weight. I think there was so many like things that you can see that pointed, like that came out that you can tell that they never really cared about health. That it was never about losing weight or any of these things.
I mean, the premise of the show. I mean, you knew that from the premise of the show from season 1.
Yeah.
There is no way to care about quote unquote health by making it a TV production that is competitive.
Yes.
You cannot be serious about helping. I'm using all these words very loosely because if you know me and my politics, weight loss and quote unquote health are not things that so anyway, you can't be serious about helping people lose weight in a healthy way if you're trying to introduce it as a reality TV show that requires them to be competitive. Because if you're asking them to drop the most amount of pounds in a week to be able to like move on to the next round or to end up being becoming the biggest loser, you're practically demanding that these people lose double digits weekly. That is deeply unhealthy. It was to the point where Danny, I keep going back to him because his story to me just feels so prominent. His first week there, he lost 24 pounds. His second week there, he lost 12 pounds. His third week there, he only lost 4. And he was devastated. He was like, oh, I'm doing something wrong. I have to cut down on calories. I have to go harder in the gym. They named that their purpose, their goal was to push those folks to vomiting after every workout. They were working out from 5 to 8 hours daily, taking in 800 or less calories a day.
There's just shit that you can't
like do. These are things that are not survivable. Danny got to a point where literally in his blood test, or not his blood test, in his they did like a test where he had to pee in a cup afterwards, and they found blood in his pee, in his urine, because of how dehydrated he was. But that was what the show sort of required for them to win. And so it's like this is what the intersection of anti-fatness and capitalism looks like, where you have people, largely many of whom are poor, who come from no money, who are trying to get $250,000 for themselves, for their family, for whomever, and are willing to go to any lengths to do that, because they also don't love what they see in the mirror, largely because of the society in which they live. I mean, we have to put this in context. This is happening in 2004. That was the first airing of the show. This is in the smack dab of the heroin chic era, where everybody on TV was a size 0 supermodel, right? And if you weren't that, then you were seen as plus size. This is the era where Raven Baxter and Tyra Banks and all these folks are like on TV as quote unquote plus size people. And so like in the context, these are folks who are like, you know, Jenny Craig is popular at this time. Weight Watchers is popularized at this time. Like this is the context under which this show is being created.
Yeah, them frozen meals they used to lose weight. This was around the Subway, Eat Fresh, like it was doing that.
This is the era that this show is being created in.
Yeah.
So of course these folks are willing to go to any lengths to try to be smaller because they recognize, I mean, many of them named in the show, they recognize that how they would be treated would be much different
by their family members.
By their Tracy went on there to try to save her marriage.
Yes. Even though she knew her husband was cheating on her. She said it was infidelity. And she thought that
if she lost weight,
he would want her more. That's some really
to the point where she was willing to die.
Yes.
Like on the first episode, she nearly died. And the doctor asked her, what do you want to do? Do you want to stay? Do you want to go? What do you want to do? She said, I'm going to stay here. I've just beaten death. She said, I've cheated death, so I'm going to stay here.
I don't know any other way where a person cheats death and goes back to that. Like, why is it so easy for this to be that? Like, normally when someone does that, they're I'll never do that again. Like, this is the reason for them to kind of change their lives. Like, I don't want to do that anymore. But this one is quite different.
Yeah.
And they were able to exploit that even more, that she was medevaced to go back to meet her family after she left the show. They had her come in a helicopter.
Right.
To have her relive that trauma for TV, for ratings. But again, this is about health. We're not thinking about mental health at this point because none of that matters.
No.
None of that matters. That's why I find the word health, like, what does it even mean at this point when the powers that be are able to determine it to be something like that is unhealthy?
The type of regimen that these people were put under quite literally produces eating disorders.
Yes.
Like, literally. I mean, one of the contestants, Suzanne, I can't remember which one it is. I think her name is Suzanne, talked about how she developed an eating disorder from the show.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was a season 2 contestant. She developed an eating disorder from the show because of how she was engaged and because of how much it was embedded in their minds that, like, food itself was evil. Food was bad unless it looked a certain way, right? Mm-hmm. And that in order to be quote unquote healthy, you have to be quote working out, exercising, whatever, 5 to 8 hours a day. And you're waking up in the morning already with a certain level of calories or a calorie deficit. So at that point, you can't eat breakfast. You can only eat lunch and dinner if you're going to, like, stay under the specific calorie regimen that they put you on.
Yeah.
Right? Like that. Those are the conditions that they were placed under, where they were allegedly being given caffeine pills.
Yes.
And other drugs, allegedly.
Weight loss drugs.
To be able to sustain that sort of weight loss on the show.
Yes.
And I'm only saying allegedly because the doctor who was on the show filed a lawsuit against Joelle, the black woman who went public about that in the New York Post. He filed a lawsuit against Joelle and against the New York Post, saying that they defamed him. He filed a lawsuit for defamation. But I want to be clear that, like, I 100% believe that is absolutely what was happening behind the scenes.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me how like the legal jargon that they were using, where if they did, I wasn't aware of it. We've seen that in the conversations, even about hazing.
David Broom and then we're using that
a
lot.
Yeah, like if it didn't happen, it's the same when we hear about conversations about hazing. Like, well, they're not supposed to be doing it, but it's happening. The very fact that it's happening should be a concern. Like these things were happening under your watch. And I believe it. They said that they did not allow them to have coffee. But we also know
the doctor banned it.
Yes, but
But they were being
We
given
are
caffeine pills.
Yes, we know that the doctor and the trainers do not have a good relationship.
Yeah.
They do not like him.
Yeah.
So if you have a trainer that's somebody who, like, both of these are doing something around health, like your body, all of these things, shouldn't y'all be working together to produce the best results? So one had a goal and the other one had another goal. I feel like the doctor, for the most part, we can just be honest, was just there to say, hey, we're taking this serious, to check a box. But we're still going to allow the trainers to treat these folks. The way that they treated Joella and Joelle, the way they treated her and her friend, I'm glad you ain't cool with homegirl no more, because my God,
I got some words for you, no shade, Cara. No
she
shade.
was happy to make that white man laugh.
She wanted her TV moment so bad. I was so pissed off at her.
And she was fat too, so I didn't know.
She was fatter.
So what does that mean? Can fat people
internalize fatphobia? Well, yes, that's what the entire premise of the show is.
So we just can't go off of our experience.
Our lived experience. We must have an analysis.
She abandoned her black friend.
She not only, like, they came in as sisters.
Yes.
And it's
very close.
And you not only abandoned her, you joined in on her being berated and mistreated by these white, thin men who only saw her and her body as a means to their survival and to views. They saw y'all's arguing and y'all's fights as viewership and as numbers. They saw your bodies as things that they could use for numbers and ratings and money. And instead of saying, hey, my friend is having this experience with these people who she does not know, who don't look like her, who don't have an experience like her, who actually are approaching this with a very, very, very clear lack of understanding of quote unquote health and healthiness, maybe I should support her in a way. Maybe I should show up for her in a way. And instead, she antagonized her and continued to berate her along with the other folks on that show. And that was disgusting to see. Now, I was disgusted by that because I thought, when I first saw them on the camera, I was like, "Oh, Cara is so beautiful."
Yes,
she was gorgeous. But that was
and the energy was so fun. Like, it just looked beautiful. Like, you have these two black women that seem to have like a good relationship.
Right.
They work together. I think they work together too, or something. I don't know if they work together.
I don't remember them working. I don't remember, but I just remember them being close.
Yeah, they were very close.
And I'm not the type of fat scholar who is like interested in berating or antagonizing fat folks who quote unquote choose to lose weight, because I don't think that it's an actual choice. I think that it is something that fat folks are coerced into through the ways that society engages us in our bodies. So I while I have like critiques, I also hold my folks with a lot of care and a lot of thought, because I know what societal pressures lead to people experiencing that, even outside of doctors or not outside of doctors, but outside of what their medical history might say. Because a lot of people's medical history does not support their need to lose weight, but folks offer as a solution because being fat is automatically unhealthy to people and whatever. So I say that to say that I was like, seeing those two beautiful black women, fat black women, in that way was like, you know what? Like, I don't love this, but also like I support those sisters because they're doing what they feel like they need to do. But to see how they were engaged on that show is like, this is outrageous.
And how they were separated.
How like and how Cara felt even more upset because Joelle didn't lose weight that one week and they got both sent home. Like,
and she went and hugged all them white folks. She went and hugged
them. She saw.
And the white people were mad at Joelle. They were mad and voted her off. Did they have something to do with her being voted off?
They all voted her off, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't want Cara to go, but she had to because that was the season that they did Buddies.
Yeah.
So she had to go because Joelle had to go. But
you think any other white, if there was a white person acting like that they would have been treated the same way?
We know that's not the case.
Yeah.
Bob Harper, the Biggest Loser, I think they said they had 381 contestants. So they had between 350 and 400 contestants on that show from out of millions of people who auditioned to be on the show. You cannot convince me that the only person who was quote unquote difficult to deal with was this one black woman who was not capable or unwilling, whichever one it was, of operating at the deeply unhealthy and rapid rate that the show required her to work at. You cannot convince me she was the only one who was bad to work with, like Bob Harper said.
Yeah.
But yet she is, to my knowledge, the only one who has been sued by the show. She is the David Broom, the producer, said that she never reached out to him, even though she alleges that she reached out to him on multiple occasions trying to get help from him. She is the only one. Her and Suzanne are the only ones who were willing to go public about their experience, and yet she is the one who reaped most of the repercussions of that decision.
Yeah.
And like, to me, it's so sick. And I love that they had Aubrey Gordon on there. Yes. And I appreciated the point that she made specifically towards the end around Bob Harper's heart attack. Because him having a heart attack, this man who has devoted his entire life to exercising and working out and quote unquote eating well, all these things, him having a heart attack
at the gym
completely disrupts this entire premise of the show, that being thin or muscular or quote unquote healthy is what will save you, and being fat is what will lead to an early death. It completely disrupts that entire premise. And instead of him having to reflect on how he treated these contestants because of it, he only dug his heels deeper into the sand around how justified he was in performing that way with those folks. And like everything about it was just disgusting, but I appreciated what Aubrey brought to the documentary. And I really, really, really wish that they had more than just Aubrey on the show, so that she didn't seem like a lone person who was this only person who has this opinion, and it was presented as like opinion, not as fact, even though everything Aubrey said was factual. It was presented as though it was just like this opinion, and they only had her there because of the current political climate that we're in.
Yes.
That I think that's the only reason why they had her there. That would not allow for them to produce this sort of docuseries as like a retrospect of the show without inviting in someone who had a fat politic in the year 2025.
And I think that's what, to me, lets me know that the conversation about it wasn't actually about like the anti-fatness and these things that they put these fat contestants through, because the same shit that they did with having the doctor on there to kind of like, hey, we have a doctor on here, because there's no way to do a show like that without having a doctor, because legal, all of that, perception, PR, all of that, it would look bad. I think like that's why they made sure to have Aubrey on here too. And I don't think that the producers, I appreciate the documentary, but I don't think they came with that lens, because Aubrey only spoke for probably like 6 minutes out the whole 3 fucking episodes.
Yes. I think on the second episode, she wasn't in it at all, if I remember correctly.
And I was so confused because there was so much other things to be offered. We have Joelle talking about her experience being a black woman, dealing with this very thin white man, talking to her in this type of way.
And knowing Aubrey, I know she had a much longer interview.
I know she has something to say. But I also think that when we're doing this, you have to do it in a certain way to make sure that like a person like Aubrey isn't looked at like, oh, we're just gonna have you here. We're just gonna do you this. She's already a fat woman. People are going to be upset that she is critiquing. So I don't feel like it should have just been Aubrey. It should have been other people speaking on this. I just wish that she wasn't the only one, because I felt like she was the one that was going to deal with all the brute of like, well, they needed to lose weight. We needed more people if we really care about this conversation, how fucked up these folks were treated.
Right.
Like y'all spent time bringing Bob Harper on there after how he treated Joelle. Like y'all, and I get it, but I think again, this is about viewership. It's about getting a reaction from us. Like I'm upset. Bob Harper must need to check because some other folks wasn't interested in being on there.
Jillian.
Yeah, she most definitely, and she loves some attention.
I wish she was on there.
She knew not to be on there.
I hate her so bad.
I never knew about her till recently.
I hate her down.
Yeah, I did not know about her, but apparently she has a history of this. And she has a black child that she adopted or something.
That I don't know that.
Yeah, something about. I know she was in a conversation about something. I don't know. I don't know, but I know she's been in the. I don't pay attention to her. I know she was on CNN arguing with my fave over there at CNN about some gender war. It's like, girl, what is going on? Like, can you ever be okay? You just can't. But I mean, all of it's tied together. She hates fats. She hates blacks. She hates the gender. What's going on? Hello.
It all overlaps for a reason, and we've been saying that for a reason. And I don't, just watching how smug David, and I keep saying these people's names because it feels so important.
Yeah, I'm glad you're
watching how smug David Broom and JD Roth, both of those were the producers of the show. JD Roth left after the 12th season. The show went on for 17 seasons. Oh my God. Watching how smug they were, like, I won't say that The Biggest Loser was perfect by any means, but we did the best that we could. And like watching how they talked about the show that they produced
that was harmful
as though it was like not was like, I know that y'all were coached by your attorneys to make sure you didn't say anything that would get you sued,
baby.
But two, it's like, at what point and the answer is, I know that there is no point in which they would ever do this, but at what point do you choose to sit with the fact that you made a sole decision to subject fat people to a deeply harmful, traumatic, violent experience that left many of them traumatized, haunted, and still grappling years later with the level of violence that they experienced. Yeah. Like, we only saw from, I think, like, 4 or 5, no, maybe like 7 or so contestants on
we had
the show.
The 2 sisters who won.
They pissed me off.
Yeah, I was sick of
I didn't like them.
I did not like them either.
First of all, them coming in as 2 of the slimmest fat folks on the show in its history, and losing, I think they lost like 100 something pounds each, maybe 200 something pounds each. No, it could have been 200 because they came in at like 270 pounds.
But also, not to cut you off, but that they wanted fatter contestants each and every season. Right. So for them to be the smaller of the fats, while they were also in the pursuit of fatter contestants, that one contestant said she was already on the verge of losing weight. They said, no, we actually want you to gain weight before you come on the show.
That was Suzanne, I think. Suzanne.
Yes. Suzanne will eat them up.
Suzanne ate. I was like, Miss Suzanne.
She gonna New Yorker down.
Okay. I said, Miss Suzanne.
I'm gonna eat a pizza for you. Because
I was living for her. I mean, my sister's on Ozempic, and you know what? I'm like, girl, I live for you, sister.
We're gonna talk about that
she
too.
She would eat them up. But I didn't like those sisters. Specifically, I don't remember, and it's funny because I've been saying all these people's names, but those 2, I don't remember their names.
Yeah.
Specifically, the one who said that she named her son after Bob, and that she's still very close friends with Bob to this day. I was so... Of course, there are 2 white women. Go figure.
Well, hello.
But...
Fuck Bob and his little dog, too.
When Joelle said that...
She ate that.
She ate that so bad. And his little dog, too. I said, come on, Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
But, like, hearing her talk about how the show was the greatest thing that ever happened to her, and how, she got to have a child at the age of 44, which congratulations. But the ways that white people, especially white thin folks or folks who are aspiring to thinness, are willing to overlook the direct violence and harm and abuse that their peers or their counterparts enact on other people, especially as it relates to Black folks, because of how they are engaged or because of how they view themselves and view the world around them, because of this very white supremacist notion that there is a certain type of body you are supposed to be in, and therefore Bob's work is God's work and not necessarily something that's harmful because you're the one who's a moral failing and you know you are, and so Bob is just your course corrector.
Wow.
It's so violent, and it angers me to no end, because that is how people like Bob get to remain in power.
Yes.
That's how people like Bob get to maintain a certain level of power and authority to be able to enact that level of harm over people, because they're surrounded by and protected by people like her.
Yes.
And it, like, naming your child after someone so evil is like, I mean, it's a very white thing to do, so I shouldn't be surprised.
You said they don't have no ancestors.
No ancestors, they got forefathers.
To see so many folks who got harmed on the way to, you are only two people. You saw so many people harmed in this process, and you thought, because they said out of all these contestants on the show, like 80-90% of them gained the weight back. Like,
which is true for weight loss, period.
Yes.
95 to 97% of people who lose weight will not only gain the weight back, they'll gain more weight,
yes,
and then they will develop health complications that they did not have before losing the weight.
Yes, and I've had experiences with that.
That's why so many people are running towards Ozempic, because it's being presented as this magical drug that will help them lose weight and keep the weight off. But we don't know the health complications that will come with that. And we are, in fact, witnessing some of those health complications, and it will only be worse. Ozempic is not the very first weight loss drug that's been presented as some miracle drug.
Yeah. There was Fen back in the 90s.
There was Merida.
Yeah.
Like,
I know Fen was one of them because of one of my aunts, unfortunately lost her life, and she sued them some years. Like, she won a lot. Like, she was a part of the settlement.
She should.
Yeah, and she passed away a week before my graduation. And I've always known her to be heavyset. Well, like, I always knew that. And now that I'm thinking about that, like, knowing that side of the family, and it's no shade if they see this, but I can imagine how she was treated, because that side of my family is very fatphobic. They color us down too. And I talked about that. Like, girl, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to eat you up too. Girl, there's some other things we gotta talk about that offline. But I can imagine that would push my aunt to get on these weight loss medications. And from speaking from experience, I have been presented from my own doctor, getting on Ozempic and Zepbound, from my own doctor. And, like, I have a prescription that's sitting, like, right now that I don't know how to feel. Like, for the last week or so, I'm just not sure if that's something that I want to consider. Like, I don't know. Like, I have it, but I haven't did it. But just for me to get that close to that, just like, because how it's even presented, like, you have the doctors who are pushing it because
they make money.
They making money from it.
But people are sitting out here with severe gastrointestinal problems. They're having severe diarrhea.
Yes.
They're developing severe kidney problems. Like,
yes.
And this is just the early stages of the side effects that we're learning of.
Oh, we care about I thought we the back.
Get thin no matter what. Vote blue no matter who. Get thin no matter what.
I thought we were not going back. Girl, we never left.
We never left.
And because we want to act as though the anti-fatness is fatphobia, something that just new words that just came up with. But we're watching a show that was heavily around the society at the time, that even folks who we would not consider fat now, we will say they were thick. We're dealing with that back in the early 2000s. And who came after? We did Jillian Michaels, Bob Harper, all these folks. And we had another one of y'all faves that was telling folks to eat carrots.
Michelle Obama.
And before some folks get defensive, what's wrong with children getting healthy? Because Michelle Obama was trying to get the kids fit. We need to stop having them eat pizzas and hot dogs for lunch and all of this. And people said, well, what's wrong with that? We need people to be healthy. It was in response to the Army, the Department of Defense, saying all y'all kids is too fat. Y'all not going to be able to serve the empire being fat. As a veteran, as someone who was in basic training, that stuff that Jillian Michaels and Bob Harper had them doing was stuff that we were doing in basic.
And in fact,
working out all the time. Like, it is not, you cannot, first of all, capitalism doesn't allow us to work. You want to spend 4 or 5 hours a day working out. I can't date a man that date anybody who goes to the gym like that.
Y'all were working out 4 or 5 hours. They're working out for 8.
And working 8-hour jobs, 5 days a week.
They were working out 8 hours a day. Like the piece about Michelle Obama, and I've written about this extensively, and it will be in my next book as well, so I won't talk too much about it. Yes, to your point, I mean, she literally went on a national campaign talking about the ways that so much of that was sort of undergirding her platform to quote unquote address childhood obesity was about readying and preparing the youth in the U.S. to serve in the U.S. military. That was the entire purpose of her campaign. But what ended up happening was Black kids, quote unquote inner city children, poor children who never got food at home, who were not eating at home, now could no longer eat at school.
Yeah. Because
schools were not giving you actual food for a while there. Like they weren't giving you like anything that was providing any nutritional value. And you couldn't get things out of vending machines. Vending machines were being taken out of schools. You couldn't get anything at lunch because you couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
Right? So like, it directly affected students who were otherwise unable to eat. But Michelle's platform existed on the in the legacy of The Biggest Loser, because let's not forget The Biggest Loser also had a season where they tried to quote unquote address childhood obesity.
What they did.
They did.
They had them kids on there.
They had literal children on this show. That was the type of thing that Michelle Obama and her ideology, her line of thinking helped to produce or helped to cement. So children whose direct environments were not being engaged, right? So to like, you can take all that shit out of school. You can take all that stuff out of school if you want to, right? Michelle Obama, David Rome, and J.D. Roth Bob Harper and Jillian Michaels were not going to all these millions of kids' homes to grocery shop for them every week. They weren't going to these children's homes to pack them up and get them out the hood and take them to a quote unquote safer environment. They weren't going to these kids' homes to make sure that their parents could provide for them. They weren't going to these kids' schools to make sure that the schools were able to provide better education for the children, right? Those are things that they were not doing for the kids. So it wasn't about making life easier for the kids. It wasn't about making sure that our children could be more successful. It was about making sure that our kids fit the aesthetic of the U.S. military so that they could perform in a way that, or that they could be rather understood as people who can perform in a way that was patriotic and that would benefit the U.S. and its empire.
Yes, period. And did not make sure that these kids had homes.
Because many didn't.
So if we are to care about like the well-being of children, all these things important, I think about that when it comes to work around HIV. If we're trying to get people knowing their status and getting control of their health, we have to make sure that they have stable housing. Yes, we can provide PrEP and all of these things, but if people do not have stable housing, what are we doing? Mm-hmm. Like, we have to address all of these things to say we care, but what's making you focus on this one thing?
Right. It's the aesthetic. It is this
and we would say it's health.
Agenda. Right.
Going back to health. But health is all of these things. Because what does it mean to like have a healthy meal and go back to unstable housing?
Right.
But then if we start looking at it like that, then people have to do more work. We're going to have to hold people in positions of power accountable.
Right.
Because no child should be living, and no human being, no person, period, should be dealing with any of these things. But we allow it.
Right.
And then who gets the benefit off of that? Like
not the children, and not their families.
When we getting weight loss medication like sold to us and all of these things, you can't look anywhere without advertisement. Wegovy, like they got baby. I thought the way they were saying, I'm thinking it's another Zoloft commercial. Wegovy.
They pissed me off because they revamped one of my favorite little jingles. I can't think of what it is right now, but they revamped it, and I'll be in there singing it, and then all I hear is "We Go," and I'm like, "Girl, I didn't think that was a damn song. I don't want to hear that."
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
But we're living in the afterlife of one of the most violent, fatphobic productions in modern history. And unfortunately, as much as it's cool and cute for us to have had, a docu-series that's reflecting on this, unfortunately, we are in a time where that very same understanding of fatness is being revamped and perfected in this moment through the fascism that we are experiencing, not only in this country, but around the globe.
Yes.
When Palestinians are being starved, to death, when the folks in the Congo are being starved to death as a war strategy, we are experiencing the very real effects of fascism, of body fascism, of a fascist ideology that understands that fatness must be eradicated to produce and sustain a politicized national image. That is what we're experiencing in this moment. So the biggest loser only becomes a blip in the actual history of the ways that we are destroyed, genocided, because of our direct biases and complete and total disdain for fatness that we dress up under the guise of care, love, support, patriotism.
I liked how towards the end of the documentary they get into like weight loss medications and things, and I feel like Aubrey tried to do a good job of like making sure like she offered her opinions on that, but it's just they didn't give her enough time.
They didn't, and I know because I know Aubrey.
Yeah,
I know for a fact that she had a much longer interview, and because I've been a part of several documentaries before, I know how they cut that up. I was so disappointed that they did not allow her, that they did not include so much of what I know that she said, because Aubrey is very well researched,
Mm-hmm.
and she knows exactly what she's talking about, especially when it comes to this.
Mm-hmm.
And she and other fat scholars deserve to have been given of more room
Mm-hmm.
to be able to undercut a lot of the noise of what some of the other commentary was trying to offer,
Yeah.
because we know that millions of eyes are going to be on this sort of documentary, and people could benefit from hearing that sort of scholarship, that sort of advocacy. And I think that that was in fact a large part of why they did not include more of Aubrey in the docuseries, because we don't actually want to give fat people knowledge and a level of confidence and a level of understanding, because that then leads to more and more fat folks standing up for themselves and for their communities.
Mm-hmm.
And that then leads to less money in the pockets of corporations and individuals who have invested in these corporations or who have a vested interest in these corporations. And it doesn't allow for these people to be able to exploit fat people in the same ways anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that show went on from 2004 to 2016. 12 years.
I didn't know it went on that long.
12 years, 17 seasons, nearly 400 people directly impacted by that show. But there were millions of people who were directly impacted who we never saw on screen.
Yeah. We did not. And I think the show, well, the series was more focused on the show, and I wanted to talk about how, like, if we're talking about truly how harmful it was, there's a lot missing. I feel like we could have had some more episodes. I understand budget and stuff, but to do something like this, either you're gonna do it or you're gonna do it right. Like, and the last episode was about weight loss medication, how unhealthy it was, how many people were a part of the gaining weight. They had gained a lot of weight back, and they did not have health, were not quote unquote healthy after that. Like, they put on more weight, and then they had other issues because of all of the things they experienced. We didn't get a chance to hear from a lot of these folks. Mm-hmm. And I understand that we're not going to hear from each and every individual, but to kind of rush that, so like they rushed it. So we got Wegovy and all these other medications and things, but we could have got into a whole episode about that.
But you know what? I actually do imagine that they reached out to a lot more contestants, and I'm willing to bet money that a lot of those contestants said absolutely not.
I wonder why.
Because they're fat. Like, these are people who got on the cover of magazines, who were invited to Ellen DeGeneres and Jimmy Fallon and all these other like talk shows, and they became mini celebrities.
A symbol of health.
For becoming thin, symbolizing what is possible for fat people who just put in the work, and then they gain all that weight back, and then they gain all that weight back and more. Yeah. I just imagine,
and almost died.
And almost died probably. Many of them probably, developed a lot of health complications because of the level of stress on their hearts that comes from, one, working out that like to that extent, and then gaining and losing. That's a lot of stress on your body.
Yeah. And your body actually fights back at you losing weight.
Yeah.
That's why it's it's very hard, because your body wants you to be a specific weight.
I mean, yo-yo dieting is quite, it's documented as a very harmful thing to do.
Yeah, one of my favorite YouTube channels, Kazakhstan, I can't pronounce to save my life, but they did a whole episode about your body does not want you to lose weight. It will literally fight you back. Like, we really do not have control of our bodies like we think we do. Like, your body, if you sleep, your body gonna go to sleep. If your body is not ready, she's like, okay, girl, we're going to sleep. Like, I don't care what you're talking about. But when it comes to weight loss, your body fights back. And like Da'Shaun said earlier, we don't know what these medications will do to us in the long term. So what is it? But I think, what was happening? who almost passed away, who almost died. Tracy. I feel like the symbolism of that, like her, for her marriage, all these things almost died on the way. Like, to me, there's just like the visual of a fat person doing these things for their health, for all of it. I don't think folks is hearing me. Like, she's doing all of these things. She's about to die. She cheated death and still was willing to choose being thin if it came with possibly being dead. That's some very heartbreaking shit.
It is.
And I understand how some fat folks fall into that, because I think oh yes, Aubrey definitely hit on that, how fat people, we don't want to see you until it's time to be seen in a moment like that. Like, you are invisible. But in this, you are very visible.
The dual experience of being both hypervisible and invisible.
Ooh, it fucks with me so much. It fucks with me so much. And to see, oh, we do see you, and now we need to see you consuming all of this food or fighting back your urges, because all it is an urge. All it is you need to put down the donut. You just don't need to be eating these fatty foods. When we see the commercials for McDonald's, Burger King, all of the fast food are always thin folks. You hardly ever see.
That's because advertisement is about desire. We have to want you to want it. And we know that you are not going to want something that you're repulsed by. And people are. Oh,
you fat and eating the burgers? The famous like video of Paris Hilton eating the Arby's burger, whatever burger it was.
It's marketing 101. We need to have desirable people representing our product, because we need to make sure that as many people as possible want this product, and those people will not want something that they're repulsed by. And people are repulsed by fatness. I really appreciated some of Tracy's contributions to the show, though,
I did too.
Because at the end of that, she was saying, I'm never going to be that size. I'm never going to be a thin person in that way. It's just not who I am. And I appreciated
That's
her
some very
saying
strong
that.
shit to say.
Yeah, like, I appreciated her saying that. As someone who, and I don't know her, so I don't know if this is true or not, but as someone who it didn't seem like she necessarily had like a fat politic. She was just clear on, like, I'm never going to be that size.
Yeah.
And I'm no longer trying to anymore.
I think we see hints of that, because also with Joelle, how she was like, no, I'm not going to do all of that. I thought that was very
good. I could since Joelle's on Ozempic too.
I mean,
and shout out to her.
Shout out to her.
I think that's what she said. So, Joelle, if you're not, I'm so sorry, but I think that's what she said. I know Suzanne says she is.
Yeah. But the way she said, I'm not going to do all of that shit. Like, I'm not going to do all of that. Like, I'm not getting into all of that. Like, I'm not going to work out to that. Because that shit is irritating. I don't respond to shit like that. When I did have a trainer some years ago, and me and Da'Shaun had a conversation, because I remember I had cooked something, and I posted a picture of my pasta, and they responded to Instagram. I said, see, you got, now, sister, you burnt too many bridges.
And there's nothing I can do for you now.
She burnt the bridge. I had to burn that bridge down, because she was, it was not giving. But yeah, I do appreciate we saw some of the things, Aubrey's contributions, and Suzanne talking about, like, she didn't give a damn about being sued. Like, Suzanne said, bitch, this is what it's giving. Y'all ain't doing me right.
I live for Suzanne. She kept her foot on their necks every time she spoke.
She did. And they had my sister towards the end.
They did.
Girl. We heard from these people with these experiences, some things that I can understand, and I'm glad that we're able to have a conversation so people can see, like, this shit is not something new.
Right.
This has been going on for years, like, for a while now.
Decades, centuries.
Yes. And it's just, we've been doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, damn, history is kind of repeating itself, because I remember Fen and all these weight loss medications. Like, damn, like, I don't know if I want to live up to those 70, 80 years, because if I had to go through this shit again and then we get another Bill Clinton, because that's what they're going to do with Gavin Newsom ass in a minute.
What it's given.
Girl, that mother, he was kicking poor folks off the streets in California, but we can't critique him now. The girls will say we can't. Y'all have period. Y'all want him to be pure, so we can't critique the candidates 3 years before the election. We can't critique them
during the election.
like,
and you certainly can't critique them afterwards when they lose.
We have to wait. So
now is not the time.
What now? Now is not. When is the time?
Never. Now is not the time. The time will come, but now is not it.
It's just not it. We need to vote blue.
No matter who.
No. We did. The girls did. And they're going to make that unconstitutional.
Trump is already trying to.
Girl, don't get me started.
Yeah, we're not. That's not the. Yeah, we can cut this out. This ain't the part for it.
Yeah, because we love everybody.
Not quite.
Not quite. But with that being said, I do appreciate all of the conversations and the nuances of it, and I appreciate all the contestants that shared their stories. Shout out to them, because it took a lot to come on here and to say, hey, I lost that weight and I gained that weight back. Because it is, like, as a society, people do look at, like, you failed again. Mm-hmm. Like, you gained that weight. Even if you do lose the weight, you're still, you fat girl. I mean, look how we treat Jennifer Hudson. Look how because people starting to act as though Luther Vandross didn't experience the things that he experienced. What revision is happening right now?
I mean, it's also just, we're wrapping up, but for me, it's also just like this very clear anti-disfiguredness that's happening too, because I appreciated what Danny offered around the fact that, like, he got to have surgery on, like, where his excess skin was surgically removed, because he was invited onto what used to be a very popular show, The Doctors, and they did his surgery. Most of the contestants that lost that weight did not. So they also have excess skin, and it was to the point where the show was so unwilling to pay for that. They made folks wear compression shirts, and they also, towards the end of the show, because if you go back and watch the seasons, they start off by wearing shirts or not wearing shirts during the weigh-in.
Some of the most ugliest outfits.
Right.
The two thin twins of sisters talked about how ugly the outfits were.
By the end of the show, or the end of the season, they're all wearing shirts again for their weigh-ins, and it's because they had so much excess skin that the show was unwilling to, like, have surgically removed. So Danny was quote unquote lucky by being, or it was either Danny or the first season contestant. I can't remember which one.
I think it was Danny.
I think it was Danny too. They were able to have theirs surgically removed, or he was able to have his surgically removed, but the other contestants could not. So it's also like this. People they walk around with, like, different, because I know a lot of fat folks who have lost weight, who cannot afford to have that surgery, right? And so they walk around with a lot of self-consciousness around their bodies, and are engaged horribly because of it. I've seen a lot of people make comments about Lizzo's body in that way, like, oh, you can tell she has excess skin here in the thighs or here in the arms or whatever. So it's like, you want fat folks to lose weight, but then you want fat folks to look a certain way when they lose weight, and when they don't look that way, because most folks will not when they lose weight. Let's just be clear, like, that's just not how skin and muscle and whatnot works. This is not how it works. So when they don't look that way, then they're also picked on in that way. And that is because we have very clear anti-fat, anti-disfigured sentiments about people's bodies.
That's
and
one of the side effects of Ozempic and Zepbound too, for a lot of folks.
I mean, when you lose weight rapidly,
yes,
your skin, our skin is not, it don't snap back. It's not elastic. It's not like something that you can just like
that.
It don't work that way.
No, it takes time, but it's not the same for everybody.
Exactly.
Especially if you've been for so long.
Exactly.
Because that's just how your body is, and that's okay. Final words. That's it. I feel like we gave
fuck Bob Harper
and his little dog too.